What was the biggest waste of money in human history? The Swedish ship Vasa. The Vasa was built in the 1620s to take advantage of the very newest in warship technology, a second row of guns. It was to be a symbol of Sweden's might, and thus was decorated with beautiful statues and carvings. This ship took 3 years to build and cost roughly 5% of Sweden's GDP. Unfortunately, the effect of a second row of cannons on seaworthiness was poorly understood. With great fanfare, the ship set off, experienced its first breeze, and still within full view of the city of Stockholm, capsized and sank. Got to be that person who bought the first ever tweet as an NFT, purchased for $2.9 million, now worth about $4. For $1 trillion to replace the Taliban with the Taliban, gotta be up there. I'd have to say that gym membership I didn't cancel until 8 years after I moved away. The CIA putting a microphone into a cat to spy on commies only for that cat to get hit by a car. I think it was like $6 million and countless years of preparation and training only to be lost under some tires. The Darien Scheme. For those who don't know, it was Scotland's attempt to set up a colony in Panama and link the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. About 20% of Scotland's wealth was thrown at it, and it completely failed in just 2 years. $35 billion for the metaverse. Probably that Dutch guy who spent money buying tulips in 1636. I gotta go with Nanny for buying that substandard copper from Ioneer Bank in the 1700s BCE. Just a terrible decision all around from what I've read. The Great Wall of Gorgan, built by the ancient Sasanian Empire in modern-day Iran. The purpose was to protect themselves from nomadic invaders. It was constructed with 100 million man-days of labor, which is equivalent to around 300,000 workers toiling for 5 years straight. Considering the average labor cost, material expenses, and other related expenditures, the total cost of the project could have reached an astronomical sum of approximately $130 billion in today's dollars. Needless to say, that it failed its intended purpose as Huns devised techniques to overcome the wall without much hassle. NFTs for sure. Can't believe nobody has mentioned World War I. Literally all of the world's most wealthy nations completely financially ruining themselves and slaughtering a large proportion of their young men, and all of the historical consequences that followed over essentially nothing, and achieving nothing except for a massive geopolitical regression with costs, which we are arguably still reeling from today. The war on drugs. There was no other human project that was of a greater magnitude than the reality labs at Meta. For reference, it cost 4x more than the Apollo project so far, and it is only the beginning. Total cost of Meta's metaverse exceeded $100 billion in 2023. No other single project comes close to this. And it's shit. Capital expenditure each year. 2018, $13.92 billion. 2019, $15.65 billion. 2020, $15.72 billion. 2021, $19.24 billion. 2022, $32 billion. 2023, $28.1 billion. Me forgetting to turn off the lights, according to my dad. Cleveland Browns paying $250 million for Deshaun Watson. War on drugs, an impossible battle. Most of Dubai's artificial islands. Those guys who bought tickets to the Titanic sub. Brexit. New Zealand spent about $25 million, NZD, on a flag referendum. Before it started, the public were against it, saying we would never change the flag. The government persisted anyway. 2 years later, the public voted to keep our current flag. So we did grinning face with sweat, massive fucking waste of time and money for a result they should have been expecting from the very beginning. World War I, a war that nobody really wanted to fight, was supposed to be a short one, and at its end left almost every European country severely indebted or in bankruptcy. Scientology. The monorail in Springfield. Bailing out billion-dollar companies during COVID like Delta Airlines that charges me $50 to bring a bag on an airplane. Instead of, training new doctors or fast-tracking those already in med school or paying off their student loan debt. The war on drugs? Trillions of dollars later, and heroin is 50x cheaper and 10x more potent. Stonehenge. The whole thing was supposed to be 18 inches tall, but the work crew misread the runes. When I bought tickets to Joker 2. The Vietnam War at $176 billion. Countless dead for no reason, and nothing positive came of it. Quantitative easing and the banking bailout. We've created a system where businesses can be too big to fail, and they can expect a bailout when they get into trouble. But when times are good, all the profits go to the shareholders. So we've privatized profit and socialized risk. This means we've effectively rigged the game for capitalism, making a system where market forces are no longer fully in play and creating zombie companies that should have folded a long time ago. Not the dumbest, but a personal favorite of mine. The US military spent hundreds of millions developing the XM-29 rifle. It was basically a grenade launcher with some extra bells and whistles. They wanted it to replace the M16, so every grunt would be carrying one. In a shockingly unshocking turn of events, that's a freaking war crime. $300+ million later, and a single Google search could have prevented it. Funko Pops. Indulgences. As in the free pass given for sins during the Crusades. You could literally buy God's forgiveness for sins past or future. I'm no accountant, but I'm pretty sure that's a waste of money. The pair of roller skates I bought during the pandemic. Panama Canal first attempt. The French didn't understand what they were getting themselves into, and death from mosquitoes killed off too many that the project had to be abandoned. Everyone here has better answers, but I gotta mention Twitter. What an absolutely idiotic way to buy a company. Acquire because someone told you can't. Fire 80% of the staff. Abolish the branding completely. Remove mod support. Offer worthless utilities that used to be free as part of a premium service. Then force push notifications to every single user that are really just your personal tweets. And when people still won't listen to you, masquerade as an anonymous user on your own app/company. Artificially inflate your own follower count and be your own biggest supporter. The Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. Regarding the cost, estimates vary, but it's in the trillions of dollars, with some sources suggesting around $3 trillion when including long-term health care for veterans, interest on borrowed money, etc. War on terror. War on drugs. Wars. Yeah, war has been the greatest waste of time, money, opportunities, and lives. Next, climate change and future. When COVID was in full swing and the entire trading market crashed, then the Federal Reserve tried to stimulate and save our overlord corporate scum by injecting $3 trillion into the stock market just for it to immediately crash again like 2 minutes later. The U.S. war in Iraq.